So way back, like in journalism days, I remember this is a great comparison too. And then I'll bring it forward into what I do now. But I remember working for the local weekly paper for 5 cents a word. So I'd write, a column and get, $10 or something like that. And at times I would even write for free in order to get the exposure. And then by the time I ended that, I would be making a couple of dollars a word for some of the major publications that I wrote for. And I found the same thing true in my my new iteration as a consultant and communications expert, where early on I didn't know that's what I was. So it was really hard to put a name to it, let alone really value that. So some of my early projects, again, I was helping out friends for free or doing a swap where, hey, you design the website for me, you put up my website, and then I'll write some copy, like for a website designer, I'll write some copy for your next client or things like that. So free swap. And then even at the low end, once I started actually realizing, okay, copywriting is a skill that people will pay for, it might have been like $20 an hour, which sounds like quite a lot still. But this was after I had, 15 years in online business. So as a journalist in online business, so $20 an hour might seem a lot to somebody who's just starting out, maybe right out of university or something like that. But for me, I had already been in the business world for 15 years. So it wasn't a lot. It was a very low amount. And now I can make, I try to value my time at about $100 an hour. And so I pitch it out to projects based on how long I think it's going to take me. And what's interesting is that one client might not play. I found sometimes they get sticker shock with that $100 an hour. So they might be willing to pay me 20 hours at $50 an hour, but they wouldn't pay me 10 hours at $100 an hour. So I got away from the hourly thing and I just bid the project. Because it just, people don't get it. They'll pay the same amount, but if they think I'm paying her $100 an hour, sometimes that is a difficult barrier to overcome. So I prefer project-based. I also think it helps take into account my expertise that I've developed over time, which doesn't necessarily come through when you bid hourly, because again, I can do something pretty quickly because I've done it 100 times. Yeah. But people think, gosh, this person's only $50 an hour. She's $100 an hour. Gosh, I'm paying twice as much, even though it takes me half as much time. It's just a weird mental thing. So I prefer to bid project.
I think that's also a great strategy for when people are looking to price themselves. Freelancers especially, I think it can be quite difficult to raise your prices, to give yourself the raise you deserve as you are gaining experience, as you're gaining expertise. And yeah, pricing per project is maybe a great strategy to overcome that sticker shock that you speak of. And also that feeling of like, maybe I'm not worth this much an hour, because it sounds like a lot even to me. But yes, if you take everything into account, yeah, definitely.
Exactly. One thing with that, though, if people want to move to that, just one word of caution is to really lay out how many revisions they get. What are the parameters of the project? How is it going to be paid? Because I made a lot of mistakes early on where I didn't build in, okay, you get one, I'll do an outline, you approve that, you get a draft, you approve that, and then I make final edits, and then I'm done. Because then they would keep coming back, and can you change this word, or I don't like this section. And it was hard for me to say, well, no, I can't, because I never put in the contract that it was, two versions and done. So just be really careful about when you go project-based, what is included, because hourly, you're just getting paid hourly. So if they come back every day for a year, fine, you're getting paid for it. But the project thing, it can trickle on and on and on. A year later, they can come back and say, well, I'm ready to revise my website. And you're like, well, that's a whole new project. So just make sure to lay it out really, really specifically.